Mentally Morbid.
This podcast represents the opinions of the speakers and guests to the show. By listening to this podcast or reading any content posted or shared by the Mentally Morbid creators, you agree not to use this podcast or blog as psychological advice. The content should not be used in lieu of medical or psychological advice or any legal capacity whatsoever, including but not limited to establishing standard of care. The content here is for entertainment and educational purposes only. No guarantee is given regarding the accuracy of any statements or opinions made on the podcast or blog. Please consult healthcare professionals for any medical or psychological care.
3, 2, 1, recording. Lights, camera, action.
Heyo! Wow.
That cat has been in all of our shows.
She's the mascot.
The other cats feel like...
I did start working on morphing the bubblegum skull into a new logo where that is the background and it has Mentally Morbid outlined in white so that we can put that on a shirt so that it's not a perfect square or circle. I'm kind of working through that.
The skull is a name, you know.
Bubblegum skull.
His name is Brad.
Okay, can we not pick the whitest male name?
I don't think any of us talked about that or agreed on Brad.
Bradley? Bradley sounds better.
Brassifer.
I still hate all of them.
Cassandra, Alexandra,
Lucifer,
Mazikeen. Speaking of Hell Loop, that's what I was thinking before we logged off. I was thinking Disney on Ice would be my Hell Loop.
Oh, okay. My Hell Loop would be the Falcons game. So,
Kayla and I are going
to
buy her a light up toy. It's going to be great.
Oh, that's what they do.
Oh, I love those things.
I know.
Yeah, see the spinny things. They go round and round.
No, it was mostly it was the sound that
Kayla loves all toys. I know. I've been to a toy store with her. She was very excited.
I do. I love Squishmallows.
I almost bought one of those, the little squishy things. Yeah. Are we doing the same thing?
No, you're talking about a stress ball.
No, the things where you squeeze it and the eyeballs come out or whatever.
No,
not a Squishmallow. Squishmallow is like a stuffed animal. Oh my god!
They come in all sorts of shapes and sizes and flavors, and people are
people are feral over.
Yes, people are obsessed.
Oh, they have an Aussie one.
Of course they do.
I think they do.
I saw a lady on
sure
Facebook yesterday, and she had a bat in every single size they make, and she had them lined up, and it took up an entire wall. Squishmallows.
Yep.
Oh.
Wait, I saw it. It was Aurora. Aurora.
Oh, that's cute.
She actually doesn't howl, but thank you.
Yeah, but it's so much fun to say Aurora.
Oh yeah, no, we howl at her. She doesn't howl at us.
Does Yoda? Yogurt?
She.
Oh God.
That sounds painful.
That's so unfortunate.
Oh no, it's really cute. You gotta picture her big head and like squishy body, and she's staring at you, and she'll go. Hurr! It's so cute.
No,
it's like a yell howl. I'll record it one day. Send it to you guys.
Hey, Mackenzie Lindsay, are we back there on your shelf?
Oh, you're on this over here.
Why are we not front and center? I've never really read too much into behaviors. But she
you're saying because I put you on my actual desk instead of my bookshelf that you don't like that?
Yes.
Oh, how dare I?
For everyone who's just listening and not watching the video, Annie and I pitched in to buy Kinsey a new office present.
Moose statue.
It's a moose statue.
And it has 3 mooses. And they are all different sizes, and it is us.
Moist.
I love it. I look at it all day. I had to put it where I can see it. I can't see back there. Also, yes, the office is smaller than you think it is.
Did you know that if you rotate, you can actually see back there? I'll show you
I
again.
cannot.
Rotation.
I do not know how to rotate. I only look front and center. When I
Don't
turn,
sharks
I
also do that?
body. I am
Explains a lot.
shark. Wait. But you cut me off before I got a chance. Let me tell you what copper sounds like. Are you ready?
Kinsey, that was actually a really good dog.
Thank you. I had a lot of practice mocking Copper when he barks at things.
If you were like next door in the backyard and you started doing that, I would be like, oh my God, they got a dog.
Can you imagine that
That
they're
is-
not complaining about him, they're actually complaining about her making the noises back?
That's me mocking Copper when he barks because I made a noise and he thinks someone's outside.
Nyx goes like this.
Oh.
That's
She
really
does.
sweet.
And she moves her little.
She rolls her R's.
She's Hispanic for sure.
Hmm?
She knows Spanish. Oh, nope.
She said it.
Do it again.
Ooh, she sounds like
Did you hear it?
well, she's done. She does not like the shit that you're talking.
That's fine.
That's going to be
Yeah.
our intro this week. It's going to be just Kayla's cackling.
But
That's fine.
Kill Bang Mary.
Oh, I'm ready this time.
Oh.
You go first.
Amy?
Oh, me first?
Yeah.
Okay, so I actually did not do a lot of reading. Does listening count in books? Are we doing audiobooks as a book?
Yes,
Whatever
for
you
sure.
want.
Yeah.
for
Ready?
sure.
Okay,
It's
cool.
our podcast.
Any kind of literature and or media content?
I'm doing all of the
Um,
above, so
Great. So I started a new audiobook because the fairy books, they have ended for now. Fae, whatever. So those are over for now. I started Blood and Coin. It is another part of a series of the Dragon and Ranger, and I've been listening to it since 2015, and it's amazing. And there's like 10 books,
yes.
no, 11 books now. So that's really awesome. I would marry the hell out of that because I mean, if I spent, but that's more than a lot of marriages. 2015, wow, record. So marry that one for sure.
With your actual husband longer than that?
Who?
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
We've both been with our people since 2012.
The Dragon Man.
The Dragon Man. Yes, him.
Dragon
I have definitely
King.
been with him. Oh, yes, King. No, man. I King. That's me.
Oh, the Dragon Princess, if you will, Kevin.
Yes, Dragon. He's the Dragon Princess. I would kill the Rings of Power, the entire show. I've hated it. I think it's boring. I love Lord of the Rings. Anybody else like Lord of the Rings? Do y'all partake in
I
Lord of the
watched
Rings?
them.
Yep, I've actually.
Do I love
I
them? No.
hate the way you said that. Okay, Kinsey, I'm going to talk to you. So Rings of Power, I think it's okay if you're doing laundry.
What? I didn't even realize that. What is Rings of Power about? I didn't even realize something came out.
Can we get a fourth person in this podcast?
DJ.
You want someone who is nerdier? Because I already think you're bringing the whole show down.
Okay, well, I think what you meant is I'm bringing the nerd to the table, not bringing the show down. You got the wrong phrase. Clearly, you meant okay.
Continue.
Tell me about
and then
the Rings show.
Bang. Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't really have a bang this week.
Tell us about the Lord of the Rings show.
She refuses.
Oh, you guys, you cannot distract me like this. Rings of Power. Are you asking me like why it was bad?
No,
or
what
about
is
it?
it about?
Oh, describe it. Lord of the Rings. I don't freaking know. It's the sequel. Google it.
You don't even know
it's
what
on
it's
Prime.
About. You watched? Were you actually doing laundry when you watched it?
No, I fell asleep both weeks in a row this time. So look, it is a sequel to The Lord of the Rings. I thought it was going to be really good, and especially because the show front runner is a female and she's like badass. But oh my gosh, she is boring and one note. I don't like it. House of Dragons, surprisingly, or House of the Dragon was actually really good. Just way too gory. They smash heads on there. I don't like that. I wouldn't bang that this week. It was weird. Weird shit happened.
All I've heard about.
Is that what you killed?
No, I'd still kill Rings of Power over House of the Dragon, but I just want to forget House of the Dragon. I get achy.
Right.
One
That's
night
all I've
stand.
heard about House of Dragon so far. I've seen a lot of trigger warnings online about it.
Yeah, no,
I thought, like,
I don't watch a lot of gory stuff, but it's
birth
rough.
scene was apparently really triggering. She's very. Oh, she's back.
I'm here. Yeah, no, it's very rough. It should have a lot of trigger warnings. Honestly, if I had my 2 cents on it, I would say a lot of the stuff should not even be featured on any kind of film because it is way too far. Like, I mean, I won't even describe it because I think it's too far. I make Kevin fast forward a lot of it. I soft
Yeah, I think
on the inside.
that's saying a lot though. And I mean, I
Mhm.
think I got to that point back when I was watching 13 Reasons Why. I got to that point with that as well. I was like, this
Oh, I had to stop watching that after that one bathroom scene.
the bathroom
I was
scene
done.
really, really upset me. Yeah.
I
It
never
was too
watched
much.
that because of that.
Yeah.
Don't watch it. It
It's
was
it's pretty, I mean, just scarring, honestly. I understand that they were trying to make a point with it, but I think it could have been done in a more tasteful way.
Well, there's making a point, and
sure.
then there's almost glorifying it because I mean, like think about the faces of death. Like, you ever heard of that? The faces of
Just
death.
like exploiting it. It was just
That's
it
a
was
good way
more
of
like
putting it.
exploiting it. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
like I was into it at first and then I was like, okay, not this many horrible things happen back to back to back to back. And like they were and I'm sure that they do, but it was and they made you watch it and it was awful. It was awful.
It was
So I stopped watching it. I understand,
very,
Kinsey.
very graphic.
I guess
Okay.
maybe this week I could bang my psychology book.
No,
I
my
have.
God.
let's not.
I cannot wait until there is a segue that I can make about the brain. I'm going to abuse the hell out of that. So just so y'all know, I'm going to make sure that I use any excuse to use the new facts that I learned about the brain and the eyeball. I could tell you about the process of sound and vision. I could bore y'all for like 2 hours straight without stopping.
Okay.
I
So
don't want it. I don't want it.
So what does Freud say about your obsession with the brain? Which stage is that?
always going to
Oral.
be in the phallic stage. I will not come out of
Oral.
it.
Oh.
Oh, good. We're just phallic forever.
By choice. Intentional.
Oh my God.
Okay, Kayla. Fuck, marry, kill.
Okay, so I don't quit books, okay? Even if I really, really don't like them, I usually try to finish them all, okay? Kill and book talk is going to murder me. Kill All the Light We Cannot See
What is that about?
by okay, and it might just be my personal preference, but it's a historical fiction and it's about the war.
You see her Googling it?
I can't get into it. I cannot get into it.
I thought you said the
I'm
lore. Lore. Okay, that makes much more sense.
no, All the Light We Cannot See. I am probably 250 pages in, and it's like a 600-page book. I think I'm gonna quit, and I don't do that.
Oh my. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
know.
was
I'm the same way.
bad.
I feel like once you start a book, you really need to see it through. But you
Yeah,
know,
but you can
I
always
have
like skip.
I mean, that's just a lot of wasted time at this point.
I used to read these historical fiction books in elementary school. I wish I could think of what they were called, but they were really good, and that was the last time I read that genre.
Okay. Well,
Thanks for the
the
specific
Boxcar
talk.
Children were not historical fiction.
Historical fiction.
Oh God.
No. Okay, while she's Googling, I'm gonna go ahead and finish off what I was saying. Bang the first 2 episodes of season 5 of The Handmaid's Tale.
Don't give me anything. I have not watched it. Also, another show that makes
I'm
me
not going to
uncomfy.
say anything, but I love this show so much.
Is it still very dark? It's just gonna stay
yeah.
dark, right?
It's gonna stay dark. I love it.
It's the last season. They're not going to change now.
It is the last season? I didn't hear that. I didn't know that.
Did they officially say that?
I thought so.
Did you make that up?
I don't.
I thought
Well,
never.
they said it before season 4 came out, and then they redid it. I don't know.
Do they
I
just
don't know.
keep doing this
Okay.
just in case like the show tanks and they're like, well, that was the last season anyways?
At this point, it's not going to.
Right.
The women will stand together.
They will have to kill everybody. I really,
Women.
really, really want to read those books. That's on the top of my to read list because supposedly they're a lot different and they talk about like her daughter and her life growing up. I'm excited for that.
I didn't love them. I
I
didn't love the
listened
books.
to
I
the
loved
first
show.
one.
Wow. Okay, Kayla, I'm finally revisiting my love of reading, and you just squashed it like
Sorry,
a
no, they're really great.
Never again. I'm never reading again. Not even my email. Don't email me.
Well, I know for me, like watching The Handmaid's Tale, because I read it and I knew it was going to be dark, but watching it was just, it felt so just dismal the entire time, right? And of course, like it's featuring just a lot of just very triggering stuff. So like that was tough, but so I don't know if maybe that was kind of the reason that the books weren't as great, just maybe because it was just so dark anyways, that reading it without having that visual.
Maybe, and I think the reason why I didn't love it is because like you said, I watched the first season before I started the books, and then I read the books and they were very like surface level, and there wasn't a whole lot of detail in it. So like I was just like, yes, I knew who all the characters were, and yes, I had a picture for them, and like I knew what was gonna happen, but at the same time it was just kind of like, I don't know. It was very breadth, not very much depth. Which is what the show gives me, and I love it.
Yeah.
Marry. I would marry the patient on Hulu.
I told you it was
it's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I cannot wait for this week's episode.
I know. I'm obsessed with it.
I'll catch up.
Man.
I'll catch up in 2 weeks.
Yes.
It will not take you 2 weeks. It's like
No,
an
I mean
hour.
in 2 weeks I'll watch it. Sorry.
They're like 19-minute episodes.
It's so good.
You're gonna really like it, Annie. It's really good.
I love Steve Carell in anything. I don't care if it's a bad movie, I'll watch it. Space Force, I watched it.
Okay, well, he's serious in this one, so
He's very good in this. Yeah.
yes.
He's a good actor.
Yeah.
In spite of his comedy. Right.
Yeah, I think, people know him for The Office, right? Like that's what they think of, and they think of him as a dorky guy, but he is a very good actor.
Or
Very
40-year-old virgin.
That's not the first one that comes in my mind, but yes.
True.
First thing I saw him in. Or one of the first things. One of the first things I remember seeing him in.
Yeah.
I was too young to watch that, so.
Yeah. We were still virgins, Annie.
4 years.
4 years older makes a big difference when you're a kid.
4. How old are you guys?
28.
3 years older.
You're basically crepit.
No, you're almost.
No, age is an
32.
either and or. It is not a gray area. I either am or I am not 32.
You are
33 and 3/4.
We don't round up.
Mackenzie Lindsay, Kilbang Mary.
Okay, I'm gonna steal. What did you use The Handmaid's Tale for? You said bang for that one.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, same. Absolutely magical. Loved it. Cannot wait for them.
Nice.
Yes, fantastic. I also really like that she directed those episodes, or at least the second one. I don't know about the first one.
Yeah.
So can't wait. But all I have to say is, if they are trying to get rid of some of my long-term favorite characters this season, I'm going to riot.
Oh, for sure. And
you know exactly who I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about.
If they try to take her down, I'm done. That's it. Also, I miss Rory. Rory Gilmore, come back. So Kill. I started watching the show on Netflix when I was at the beach with Ashley. And it's called Gypsy, and it's about this therapist. So I thought I would really like it, right? It's about this therapist that basically gets like very involved in her clients' lives and starts to meddle in a really bad,
Kevin started
way.
watching that a couple years ago.
It's very slow.
He also stopped watching it.
Yeah. I'm like, it could have been so good. No. Okay. So
Angie's a bad therapist.
Right. There's just a lot happening there.
In The Patient, they do a really good job with his therapy.
They do.
They do a very good job.
He does a good job. And he talks about like, that's not how therapy works and stuff, which I appreciate because I feel like a lot of times the fake therapists on TV don't say that. They're just
No.
like, okay. And then Mary, I guess the only other thing I really watched or read since our last podcast, because I finished Scream Queens, which is still number one in my heart, is I started reading a business book because I need to learn how to run my business better. It's called The Toilet Paper Entrepreneur, and it's reminding me that I need to be happy at work and stop dealing with bullshit that I don't want to deal with because I own my own business. So
Hey, haven't we said? Hey, hey,
Put your hand.
you
No,
I
did
have a
not
question.
write book.
don't,
Write book.
no, don't give the talking stick.
No write book. No listen.
Annie, didn't we tell her?
You didn't write a book, so it doesn't matter. Your opinion
I
is
will put it on a piece of paper and put it in a book.
send it to me in the mail and I'll consider it.
Listen, I
'Cause you're
think we
not
all
reading.
know that if it hits our money or in some way could influence the production of more money, that we will then change. Until that point, other people can suck it.
Mhm.
Am I right?
That's fair.
Yeah.
No, that's fair.
I'm trying to remember that being happy is more important than being rich. It's not working.
But-
that
Is it though?
well. I'm
But
trying
when
so
it's
hard.
attached to being rich, Kinsey's like, I will absolutely make it a priority in my life.
I love money. And so it makes me happy. Therefore,
money.
Two dear friends.
need-
Opinion of two dear friends for the last however many years. Toilet paper. Book.
Toilet Paper Entrepreneur, where he talks about wiping his ass with Kleenex from the trash can. The first chapter.
oh my God. What, to save money?
Because he ran out of toilet paper. That's the name of the book.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yes,
Segue.
Amy.
Okay, I gotta say this before we get off of Kill Bang Mary. One of the positives of House of the Dragons, they had an almost sex scene, and I think it was, I can't remember if it was director or producer, but it was a female, and she talked about how she wanted it to be seen from the female's perspective. And I thought it was really cool because like the behind the scenes talked about how they wanted it to be like the woman was enjoying it, and the difference between how males see a woman enjoy sex and females see a woman enjoying sex, and that's how she shot it. So I thought that was pretty cool. So some kudos to House of the Dragon.
That sounds good.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
I thought so too. I had much more respect. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh,
So they filmed it based off of whose perspective?
hers.
The character, the female character, because it was a guy
Okay.
and a female, so heterosexual, and they were about to have sex, and basically she was like, it's because it's an older male and a younger female. I'm not trying to give away anything. It's not really a huge part, but and they wanted it to be like a bit forceful, but not force. So some pressure behind it, but they wanted her to enjoy it. So kind of just that push. And so she was very careful in showing that she was enjoying it, but from a female's perspective. So we talked about like pornography before, where there's like pornography dominated by males perspective, and there's like the female porn. So I thought that was interesting. And you could tell like it was a hot scene.
We haven't talked about that on the podcast, but yes.
We should. I'll do it. You know what? I got this.
No, that's totally your story. You can have it.
I'll take it.
I really want to see the new Harry Styles movie that Olivia Wilde directed because it's supposed to be really empathetic on the female orgasm. But also, I heard the movie is really bad, so it's not on my.
There's a lot of drama going on between Harry Styles and then Olivia Wilde right now.
And
Yeah.
I am here for it. All of it.
Me too.
I have been
ready.
here since. Who's the guy? Who was her husband?
I'm not.
Jason.
Right.
Jason
Jason-
Sudeikis?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah,
I
I've been
just
here for
love
it.
scrolling through all of the TikToks who have created every theory and conspiracy theory, and they find all of the tiny micro moments where he just disses her. I'm into it.
Right.
Even if it,
A photo with her the other day. I saw that.
for promo.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The hairy people need him to be single. They cannot survive if he's not single.
It's like Haley Baldwin, right?
I know exactly who that is.
People can't stand Haley. Is it Haley Baldwin, wife to Justin Bieber?
Yes.
People hate her because she's married to Justin Bieber. Before that, nobody gave a crap about her. I mean, maybe the model industry, but like people in general did not really care about her and who she was dating. Then she married Justin, and suddenly she is the most hated woman on the planet.
I don't think
in the
she's
teen world.
hated.
Oh yeah,
think
she was.
TikTok doesn't hate her.
the people that hate her because they want him to be with Selena, not because they want him to be single.
Well,
Mm.
either way, they do not like her.
As far as I know, they want her to leave him because they think he's abusive.
That's probably
I've
also
also-
true. That's
I've
the
heard that.
intelligent part of TikTok community. But the teens and the tweens who grew
Oh,
up with
my
Justin
FYP
Bieber,
is very intelligent.
I am. You sure? I've seen the
It
videos
is.
you send.
Well, okay, so I do have a little dumb things on there, but
Just a few sprinkled in.
I think I just sent you a TikTok with a guy who put 2 hot dogs in the bun instead of just one. If that gives you any idea of what's on my For You page.
Oh my God.
Oh, shit. I love it.
So,
Okay, Mackenzie Lindsay. Your turn.
Who's
Today.
ready for my story?
Finally. A long time ago.
After I pretended
funny.
to have COVID.
yeah, your
Do I
voice sounds
feel-
the same.
Yes, but I feel different. So, this week's episode of
You forgot.
is
Ma.
called Mentally Morbid. Is called The Girl in the Basement. Dun dun dun.
I like how she gets her own music.
Ooh, I'm excited. Okay, go.
Everybody turn the lights
hope-
off.
Wait,
I
what?
hope I do
No.
a good job with this story. You're right. I should have gotten my spooky lights out. So, the girl in the basement, also known as Elizabeth Fritzl, she is going to be the focus of our story today. So, Elizabeth was born in Austria in 1966, one of 6 siblings, 3 boys and 3 girls. Starting at the age of 11 in 1977, Elizabeth's father started abusing her. And according to my research, the abuse at that point, I'm not 100% sure what it looked like, but I will detail some of the things that happened later on. She finished school at age of 15. I have no idea why. I don't think that was normal in the 60s, but she did. And she started prepping to become a waitress. During
Finished
that time, she
school or dropped out of school?
Dropped out, yeah.
yeah, it said finished. So I think dropped out.
Yeah.
So she started prepping to become a waitress, and she ran away in 1983 with a friend to Vienna. Within 20 days of running away, the police found her and returned her to her parents' house, where she then resumed trying to become a waitress, right? So not the best life, ran away, decided to come back, or I guess was forced to come back. Gonna be a waitress, blah, 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 blah.
Do you know who else was from Austria? Fun fact.
Who?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Sigmund Freud.
Arnold,
Oh,
the mayor of California.
Was he?
Sigmund Freud? Yeah.
No. Schwarzenegger.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Proceed, please.
So a year after she runs away, right? 1983, she runs away. This is 1984. Elizabeth's dad, Joseph, who had abused her since the age of 11, asked her to help him finish refitting a door in their basement. So they're downstairs refitting the door. And as soon as they finished refitting the door, Joseph literally swung the door closed and locked her in the basement. So
How old was she at this point?
Oh, and
Sorry,
also
I
during that
don't know
point,
how math.
also during that point, he used a cloth soaked in ether. I'm not really sure what that is, but he used ether
Ether.
over her mouth and nose to knock her unconscious. I don't know how old she was at that point. She was born in 1966, so this was 1984. So 18? 18.
Okay, sure.
No, I need y'all. Please do the math.
Okay, hold on. Let me get a calculator out. Okay, 19 what?
1984.
Minus 1966?
Yes.
She was 18. Kenzie, you're so smart.
I did it so quick. 18.
We're all
Thank
very
you.
impressed. Kinsey wins today.
I only had to go barely past math for 7 years to be able to do that kind of quick math. So
I was in AP math. It is all gone.
terrifying. I barely passed pre-calc, and then they told me pre-calc didn't count towards my major, so I had to take some other math class. You know
I was
how much-
in
They
I
were
was
like,
in AP US history, not AP math. They didn't put me in there.
Same. I did the A push too. Yeah. You know how fucked up it is to tell someone who can barely do math that they have to take pre-calc and then tell them it doesn't even count? It didn't even count.
Can you imagine
No
how
one
dramatic she
told
was
me.
at that point? But then this toilet paper
No.
book told her to be happy and she got over it. So
I'm sure that's exactly how it went.
Toilet
She got
paper
over it
guy,
very
like,
fast.
don't worry about it. So Elizabeth locked in the basement, right? Unbeknownst to her, Joseph had actually been working with what they called the municipal authorities, which I have no idea what that is in Austria. So as you can tell, I did a lot of research on these terms I don't know.
I'm going to go
So-
with government.
Yes, government people. He had been working with them since the 1970s to get permits to build an underground prison cell. 14 years. This man had been secretly building a cell in his basement to trap his daughter in.
It doesn't really
So-
sound secret when he went to get permits.
Well,
True.
supposedly a secret.
But so that was his original plan, was to trap his daughter, not to trap other people?
The
I mean, at that
research
point.
gives the impression like his plan was always to trap her. I don't know if it was ever to trap anybody else. I don't think anybody got that information from him.
Can you
That's fine.
imagine
I just
being at like the permit office and some guy keeps coming up there like, I just need to build a prison
No,
cell.
no,
Like,
no,
sir,
No. Please wait.
oh God.
I want you to note it was common in the Cold War days to build nuclear bunkers, so no one thought anything of his plan. They just were like,
Oh my gosh.
but homeboy's like, no, I'm gonna trap this girl in my child in my basement. So like literally, yes, it wasn't secret, but it was intended use was secret. Let's say.
I got one more comment and then we'll let you go. Can you imagine
She's logging off after this.
just
Sign out.
Okay, but I'm going to go to the municipal court to get the permit because I need a permit to build this bunker. And then I'm going to illegally trap a human being. Like, why even bother with the permit?
No, that's a good question.
Joseph's just trying to be an upstanding citizen.
I love that you're calling him Yosef. This is great. Please proceed. I giggle every time you say Yosef.
Joseph. What should I call him? Mr. Fritzl?
No. Oh, yes, please.
Mr. Fritzl.
Much
Change
better.
your mind real quick.
Joseph Fritzl. Oh, wait. I need to back up a second. I did not tell you guys my sources. I would like you to know I use the tillmango.com, allthat'sinteresting.com, and there is a movie called The Girl in the Basement. So if you would like more information
On what?
Oh.
You know, I'm not going to say that I didn't forget to write down what it's on,
Okay.
but I
I'll
definitely
look it up.
know what it's on.
I didn't remember to write it down, but I also do not remember it.
But I really want to watch it, so let me know when you figure out where it's on.
Okay.
I will tell you the movie is a loose adaptation and not actually based on Elizabeth herself. It's just based on the idea of being locked in a prison cell by your father.
Like Emily Rose.
Amazon Prime or Vudu.
Ooh.
You know what that means? It's
Yeah.
obscure.
It's also important to note that
Oh no.
sorry, she made me laugh with it's obscure. It just took a second to process. Also important to note that Joseph spent 2,000 pounds to build his underground cell, and that is approximately $2,300 US. So.
You did the math?
But then can you then calculate the inflation rate into that so we know what it would be
we
today?
really need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably like 20K, I would say at least.
Hold on.
Definitely
What did you
based
say it
off
was
of
in US
legit math.
dollars? Hey,
2,300.
2,300
Yeah.
in 19.
Disclaimer:
houses are-
we are not planning on building an underground bunker to trap
In
people.
1987?
Yes,
1984.
1984.
But if we were, we have all the information at our hands.
We'll put the
Oh.
information on the Google site.
Kinsey, you said 20,000?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're so smart.
That's two maths.
It's only 6,500.
That's actually really cost efficient. What did he make it out of?
Okay, but listen, my underground cell is going to be really nice, okay? I'm going to have strobe lights. I'm going to have glitter bars. It's going to be a stripper pole.
I mean, but just to like update cabinet paint,
not a
like
prison.
it's expensive. How is it $6,500 today? That's not right. That's got to be just like basic excavation
That's
and
just
dirt.
that's just for inflation, Annie. That's not for rising costs or rising products
Good
or
point.
anything.
We're going deep here.
We're at a
Oh.
base $6,000.
Listen, people
Now,
are
can
not
you
here for
calculate
math.
that?
Then we
No, we're all done.
Then we talked to the property brothers, and they let us know it will take another $20,000 for them to come out to the site.
Perfect.
Joseph did
We'll
this
pay
by himself. He didn't contract out at all.
Then I'm going to ask if Zoe say Chanel will join them, and they'll say no, and it'll be a whole thing.
Labor costs, you can just add 10% of the cost of supplies.
We're all done. We're all done. I'm done with it. Move on.
Put the math on the website for people to figure out their own.
Can you put a calculator as like a little bubble that they can click on to do math?
Prison cell calculator. Also, I am going to send you pictures whenever you decide to start posting this on the Instagram. There were some good pictures of the cell that the police took. So we got some good angles.
Wait a minute. I feel like that would be a good thing to screen share at some point, but I'm just going to Google it.
Okay. Screen share it.
Oh, no, not me.
Continue, Kinsey.
You want me to screen share? Can I screen share?
No. Just continue with their story.
No.
Oh no, she's doing it.
You can. I don't know if it's going to hold up.
Oh, it says it. Control S. I'm bored.
This is all thanks to Annie. Hold, please.
I meant more of in the future, this would be a good point that we would screen share when we're all together and we have a recording studio and somebody who's actually running the sound booth.
Okay, this is Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
This is Joseph.
I'm ready.
He looks like
Whoa.
Joseph.
He does.
This is her little cell.
Oh, she's pretty.
She's pretty.
That's why he trapped her. And here is another picture of herself. Very
Have you been
small.
looking for couches lately?
Yes. And apparently for golf balls.
Jesus.
Oh, there's Joseph looking less scary. Normal guy. Family photo.
She looks famous, and I can't figure out why.
Well,
He is looking scary again.
No. His eyebrows were made by like some B-rated movie producer who's doing the makeup. Like that is terrible. He could not be better fitted to be the villain.
Yeah, he looks like a villain for sure.
He does look like a villain.
But not like an anti-hero villain, like a villain.
Like,
so it was incredibly small,
far,
enclosed, and hard to get to, it looks like.
Yeah. So that was that narrow spot?
Yeah, I think that was like the hallway down into the room. So she had a room and a bathroom. And ultimately, like, she did have a TV and stuff down there, which we'll get to. I do want to point out that Joseph is married to Rosemary, which is the mother of Elizabeth. And some of the news articles refer to her as his wife, but don't actually directly refer to her as Elizabeth's mother, but she is Elizabeth's mother. She and Joseph are together through this whole ordeal, and she has no idea where her daughter is, right? She is asking if anyone's heard from her. She filed a missing persons report. She worried. She called around for her, and the police even came and spoke to her and Joseph and were like, do you know where she is? And Joseph basically was like, she's always talked about running away and joining a cult. So maybe that's where she is, right? And then he goes through the extra step of making Elizabeth write letters to her mother in the basement and sending them in the mail, telling Rosemary that she ran away because she doesn't want to be part of the family anymore. So, yep.
Okay. Was Joseph also abusing mom?
It does not say on any of the stuff that he abused mom.
Okay.
It seems very directed towards Elizabeth, but
if anything, he's freaking emotionally abusing her for sure.
Yeah. I mean, he literally would drive, I don't know how far, but it seemed like he would drive an extensive period of time to go to the mail place to deliver these letters so that they look like they came from somewhere else.
Oh my
So,
God.
yes. So I will let you know now, Elizabeth lived in this basement for 24 years, and her mother did not know she was down there. Yes.
How do you not go to that part of your house for 24 years?
So Joseph and his wife Rosemary lived on the second floor of their house, right? And then they also rented to a young couple who were on the first floor of the house, in between where Joseph was and where Elizabeth was in her cellar.
Okay.
And no one knew what was going on. Joseph went down there every single day, it said at 9 a.m. to go to work, and his family was under the impression that he was drawing plans for machines. So I guess he sold some sort of machine or machine plans. And even at times, which we'll get to in a second, but even at times he spent nights in the basement, did not come home. And his wife thought nothing of it. She thought he's just this hardworking guy working to support his family, right? They would hear noises and he would tell them that it was like a loud furnace or some issue with the water heater, X, Y, and Z. And no, everyone believed him. He played it off. He played off all of these things for 24 years. He had her in the basement.
Where's the access point?
I have no idea.
It
The
would have to be
basement.
outside the building, obviously. Right? Like a crawl space?
You said that there was a couple who they rented to for a while downstairs,
On the
Yes.
bottom floor.
On the
bottom
first floor.
floor. And so they lived up top.
Mm-hmm.
So then it might be that they never went down to that first floor, and that's where the access point was.
I'm not sure. It doesn't
But
talk about.
if he had to use the first floor, the couple would have noticed where he was going.
No. They knew he was in the basement. They thought he was working down there.
Oh.
Okay,
Sorry,
but
I
like,
missed your question. They knew he was in the basement, and they were like, "Oh, he's at work. Like he worked in the basement. That's where he supposedly was,
Oh, I see.
but also where he was holding her captive." And he would spend the night with Elizabeth, and the wife was under the impression he just worked all night.
I see. Okay. I thought he like went somewhere to go to work.
No. He
So
worked
he
in
was
the basement.
before his time, work from home.
Yeah,
Okay.
9 a.m. every day. So this is where it gets a little more detailed. Elizabeth, from what they said in the records, spent the first 2 years completely alone. It seems like he completely isolated her for 2 years. I'm assuming obviously he went down there to feed her and stuff, but it seems like she was tied up with an iron chain that they said barely made it so she could move to either side of the bed. And then she just basically sat down there by herself for 2 years. And then it seems like after that, for the 3 years after that, which accounted for like the first 5 years, the abuse really started to ramp up. I don't know if he abused her this much of the first 2 years because the way it was worded in some of these articles was a little confusing, but I do know that for the first 5 years, she's the only person that lives in the basement and she is being abused during that time. It said that she was raped and sexually abused at least 3 times a week, but usually multiple times a day. I think some of the estimates said that let me find the estimate. It's estimated that he raped her 3,000 times in the 25 years that he was there, that she was there. And then she became, I know, and then she became pregnant 2 years into captivity, but miscarried 10 weeks in. So 2 years after that, she became pregnant again and had her first child, who she named Kirsten. So this is,
She had a baby down there with her?
well, it's about to get way worse than that. Yes, she had a baby down there.
No. Okay.
2 years later, in 1988, she had her second child, Stefan. And then she was allowed to, I'll take a step back. Elizabeth did give birth to 7 babies during her time in the basement. And it gets worse because Joseph only let her keep 3 of them down there with her. This man literally staged elaborate schemes where he found babies in the bushes outside of his yard that were supposedly dropped off by Elizabeth, included with notes that he made her write while he imprisoned her in the basement, saying that she needed her parents to care for the babies. because they no longer could. So he would basically stage it so that when Rosemary went outside, I guess she would like find this baby with a note from Elizabeth saying like, "Mom, I couldn't take care of the baby. I need you to take it." And because they're the first kin, the government let them keep the kids.
So, okay, so I get that he was probably.
Oh, this is so fucked up.
Yes. So I get that he is probably not a kind person to the wife. So this is not blaming her because obviously we don't have any information on how her life was. At the same time, though, Kevin doesn't even believe me when I find a kitten in the yard that I didn't bring it home, right? So after a couple babies, he might start going, "Where are you getting these?"
Right.
And this was how many? 4 at this point?
So she had she miscarried, or I'm sorry, she had a baby who died within the first 10 days of being alive. So there were only 6 kids in total.
Gotcha.
3 stayed with her and 3 went upstairs to Rosemary and Joseph and were raised as his children as well. It is unclear where all of these kids stayed. You saw the pictures. It was a very small room. I'm assuming they saw her get raped by her father repeatedly. It did not talk about that in the articles I read. But yes, basically he's like staging this whole elaborate thing where he's like forcing Elizabeth to write letters to her mom, sending them in the mail, I guess, like continuing up this charade that like she's unwell, she can't take care of the kids, yada, yada, yada. And Rosemary is just buying it. I don't know if there was this assumption that she was a troubled child before this or what, but she doesn't doubt any of it. She never.
I guess so. It goes to like how you feel you know the person. So like you think about the people that you never would have thought did things. Like I mean, for me, what was the actor who they found out was actually gay and also was accused of raping a male early in career, American Beauty guy. I can't remember his name right now. Anyways,
I don't know. There's so many.
Yeah. Anyway, so just like the celebrities that have come out a lot more recently in the later years, that they were abusive in their earlier years, like sexually abusive. It's just shocking because you know them as like this cool person as you grow up. So I think about like if you're married to somebody, you're not going to assume that they're going to imprison and then rape your daughter,
right?
Especially if there's a story
for over 2 decades. Yeah, I mean, she was down there until if she got trapped at 18, she was down there for 24 years. What is that? 42 is when she got out.
I mean, it's gullible, naive, completely unobservant, but
brainwashed.
Yeah.
And I agree with Caleb, definitely showed some signs of abuse.
Yeah.
And like they don't talk about any of the other children. You got to remember Elizabeth was one of many kids as well. She was 3 boys and 3 girls, so there were.
Well, I figured. Okay, so you're probably going to talk about this in a second, but like, if she was down there for that long, those kids are going to be like
thinking about that.
16 years old. What does he do with them then?
Right, and I will tell you, we will get to that. But
right.
You have any more questions so far?
No, I
just want to make sure I'm telling a good story.
You're telling a great story. I'm so uncomfy.
I am too. It's very interesting though, for sure.
We need a big trigger warning on this one.
Yeah. Well, they're all going to get trigger warnings.
No. Amy's won't.
People are scared of aliens.
Not the way I tell it.
So some of the important things that they said are she was forced to catch rats with her bare hands. I'm not really sure why, and I'm not sure what the purpose of catching the rats was, but she did. She did not have air conditioning down there, so it was incredibly hot in the summer. Ultimately, it seems like he did take the chains off, and she was able to move around a little bit more freely, but it seemed like the chains were on for a long time. The impression I got was the first 2 years at least they were on. So he would go down there, and he would rape her. He would beat her, he would kick her, and then it also mentioned that he forced her to reenact violent pornography scenes. I don't know if that continued. Again, like I said, I don't know if that continued after the kids were born. And she gave birth to 7 babies down there, and all he provided her was a book on childbirth, a pair of dirty scissors, and some disinfectant. She and the babies did not see a doctor for nearly 12 years.
How did they live?
So I don't know. I mean, it doesn't give a lot of details on that. It does.
I mean, I'm assuming Well, that's hard to say because I was gonna say there's probably a lot of like infections and stuff that could happen.
Right, and there's a lot of information that doesn't necessarily line up between the two articles that I read, like the two stories about this, because like one says that they didn't see a doctor for 12 years, but also ultimately when they get free, her daughter is 19. So that math doesn't add up. I have no idea how they saw a doctor in between those two times. It doesn't say. It seems like there's some gaps, and I'll talk about where she is now, and I think that'll clear some things up as well. But I do want to correct myself. The child died in her arms at 3 days old, not 10 days old. And then Joseph burned his body in an incinerator. I don't know where he got that, but he did. She did think of suicide, but she felt like she couldn't do that to her children. And then he also threatened to kill them, as most abusers do if they tried to leave. So, a very interesting quote that I wanted to use is, he told them that he installed a system so that the doors would deliver an electric shock if they tried to open them, and poison would be released into the cellar if they tried to escape, killing them instantly. It's some of the scare tactics that he used so that they wouldn't get out.
I mean, why wouldn't you believe it after your dad builds a cell and then locks you in there and rapes you and beats you? Why wouldn't you believe that he also would poison you?
Yeah. So he used a lot of scare tactics. He also turned off the power supply to the basement for days, and she just sat in darkness, I guess, when he was upset with her or just trying to play mind games. I don't know. So there were periods of time where she would literally just sit in the cellar in the dark. I'm assuming she could also hear like the fact that there were people living their lives above her too, which probably is also very screwed up.
Yeah.
So ultimately, they got free because of her first daughter, Kirsten. Kirsten was 19 years old and got very, very sick. It didn't really say what was wrong with her, but she had to go to the hospital. And
So they really lived down there until they were old?
Yeah, they really lived down there. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
19 years old, and something is wrong. I don't know what, but something is wrong. And Elizabeth, like, she has to go to the hospital. And Joseph finally relents and he takes her to the hospital. And she gets to the hospital, and the nurses and the doctors are like, girl, like, what is wrong with you? Like, they basically were like, you look like you're getting abused. Something is wrong. We're not releasing you. And they put stuff on the television for, gosh, how long was it? I think it's weeks at a time. So, the media spent a week putting stuff on the television saying, where is this girl's mother? She needs to come forward. She needs to come get her daughter at the hospital, because they're trying to basically figure out, like, who is abusing this girl? We need a full story.
What year was it now? What year is it now?
I have no idea, Kayla. I cannot do that kind of math in my head.
Well,
How old is she?
She's 19.
And Elizabeth had her several years in, so.
It's got to be the 90s, right?
She's got to be at least 40, right?
I know that her story came into the limelight in 2008, so I don't know if it...
What? Okay.
Came into the limelight at 2008, not necessarily
No.
came out.
I got it. I'm there. But like, okay.
Yeah.
Keep going.
This is a pretty new sort of story. So this ties back to when he's saying, like, they did have a TV down there, right? So like Elizabeth and her two sons that are also still trapped in the basement are seeing this on the TV, and Elizabeth's like, what are you, I can't get to her. Like, I'm literally trapped. And she ultimately is like pleading with Joseph, like, please let me go to the hospital. Please let me go to the hospital. And ultimately he agrees. And the articles I read are kind of just like, he's getting old. Maybe he realizes like he can't keep this up forever. Like, I mean, she's been locked down there for 24 years at this point. So he lets her go to the hospital, and they put Elizabeth in a hospital bed, but also are like, we're going to arrest you. And she was like, okay, well, what if I tell you what's going on? I'll tell you everything as long as you promise I never have to see Joseph again. And she did. She told them everything. They reopened her case and began to read the letters that she sent Joseph, and finally realized, like, hey, red flag. This doesn't really add up. None of this makes sense why this is going on like this. So it came into the limelight in 2008. In 2009, Joseph was arrested on charges of false imprisonment, rape, and various sections of the penal code, as they put it. He was convicted and found guilty on all counts and sentenced to life in prison in March of 2009. he tried to defend his actions by saying it was safer to lock her up because she was unpredictable and he was just trying to protect her from the outside world. And his lawyer tried to portray him as a family man that was just trying to protect his family. He's trying to protect Elizabeth's family and Rosemary's family separately. So I really think they're trying to like say that this girl was unstable and that's part of the problem, which it doesn't help that she ran away at a young age, right? Like they're going to use that against her. But he was found guilty on all counts. So he is currently in Garston Abbey prison with dementia. He did change his name to Joseph Mary Hoff because he's trying to protect his identity. So, but
Well, that didn't work.
Can we say the name again?
Joseph Mary Hoff.
Can you spell it? And what's the address of the jail, please?
Garston Abbey prison. We should all send him mail. So
we should send him something.
Elizabeth also was given a new name and identity for her protection. So that's part of why I think a lot of news sources don't have the full story on this and some of the stuff doesn't add up. There are no known photos that have been taken of her since she was 16.
Good for her.
And she lives in an Austrian city known only as Village X. She's in her 50s now. Her kids are 19 to 33. She did actually mend her relationship with her mother. No information on what that looks like, but it does say they have a relationship. And then, she is left with a lot, her and the kids are all left with a lot of physical, psychological wounds. And it says like now it is known that they usually sleep with their doors open and the house brightly lit because, they had a really hard time because of being stuck in the dark when he would turn the power off on them. And they also try to stick to strict exercise and diet plans and take medication for anxiety and panic attacks to try to live a healthier lifestyle after getting out of their imprisonment.
Mm-hmm.
That is the story of the girl in the basement.
I feel like I'm going to have nightmares. Not even from the story, but from the feelings I get from the story.
Mm-hmm.
My job here is done.
This is like reading a Stephen King novel.
Pretty much. Can we talk about the trauma behind all of this?
Yes, because that
Which
is
route?
my to psychology.
Physical, emotional, mental.
Yeah, it's extremely screwed up, and it's important to note that, things like this that were happening starting in the 60s just came to the limelight 14 years ago. We're just now finding out about stuff like this, and it definitely makes you question what other women were being severely abused that we don't know about or died in captivity or things like that. And this really forces this idea that there's a lot of really horrible things that go out there in the world.
Before we move into the trauma of it, acknowledge the resilience and strength of that woman, right? Yeah. I mean, because she, at some point, she chose to live through that for her children that she didn't ask for and probably at points did not want and resented because of the situation. But she chose to live through that.
I would be really curious. Yeah, I would be really curious what her relationship with the 3 kids that got taken upstairs looks like and what that There's got to be a lot of resentment there between the kids, right? You have 3 kids who lived normal lives and then 3 kids who were imprisoned in a basement with their mother. It doesn't make any sense. And I don't understand how he chose her out of his 6 children to abuse, how he chose which 3 kids. I think it was just the younger 3, but he's just making these random decisions. And it sounds a lot, it reminded me a lot of A Child Called It, right? This idea of you just really, really have it out for one of your kids for who knows what reason.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's where I don't understand how. I think we like to vilify people, right? Whether they're either a monster or they're not, and that's one of the things that I remember Biden talking about with Putin. Is that one of the scariest things is that he's actually a very calculated, smart individual. He is not a monster. He's calculated and smart, and I think about that a lot with things like this, where it's. This individual is not crazy. He's not even psychotic. He's knowingly doing these things. He knows right from wrong. And I don't see how you can just go. I mean, it's one thing to lock her in a basement because you're scared she's going to go off and I don't know, date a guy in a band, but to rape and torture and then go to work the next day.
Yeah. And to continue doing that he abused
30 years.
He abused her for over 30 years. She was only imprisoned for 24 of those, but he was abusing her for a long time before that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a good point. What, there's no telling what happened beforehand.
Yeah, it was very vague on that part of the story, but I'm assuming the rape started before she was in the basement.
I guarantee you it was a dropout of school, and that's part of the reason that she ran away.
Yeah. So, and the fact that the police brought her back to her home in the first place, like if she had just been able to run away
And
when
actually
she-
get away.
and actually get away, and the police hadn't brought her back, like that, this story wouldn't exist.
But even nowadays, it gets missed. So imagine the 60s, or sorry, I guess at that point, 70s, and in Austria. I mean, I don't think it's third world, but I don't know that it would have, it's not quite as caught up at that point.
Yeah,
That's
I think there's a
insane.
lot more military-esque stuff there too, right? Like the
Mhm.
police force is a lot more strict about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I really don't know as much about the culture as far as that goes, but
No, I didn't either. So I do want to watch the movie. It sounds really interesting, but I thought a very intense story. And, I think there are a lot of stories like that, right? Like there's the girl in the box. There's, I'm sure there's more. That's the one that comes out the top of my head. Like there's
there's
a
a lot
lot
of
of these
stories. I can name one.
horror stories. And, it's just like, how does this keep happening to women? I don't hear about men being locked in basements and boxes.
It happens.
Not as much.
No, but it does happen.
Down with the patriarchy.
But can you think about what she had to go through to get back into society? Like,
Right.
okay, for one, I wonder how. Like, did she just go to work? Does she have funding? Like, is there what's her name?
Elizabeth
Elizabeth.
Fritzl.
Is there an Elizabeth fund that helped her not have to work so that she could actually live? Is she on welfare of some kind there?
I
Like,
mean,
how do you
yeah,
just?
her case pretty well, and like gave her a new identity. So I'm assuming that there was some sort of funding with that. It also mentioned that she has like guards outside of her house. I don't know if that's still going on, but for a while she did. So it seems like people are supporting her, but
I'm officially creeped out and cringy.
Yeah, thanks for that.
You
that was
did
my
say
goal.
spooky.
I said spooky.
I was not expecting that.
That wasn't spooky. That was horrific.
That was intense. She used the right word,
That's
intense.
an even better word. The horror of the girl in the basement.
Yeah.
That's a really nice title for the episode.
Episode 1.
No.
6.
We didn't start until I started
Oh,
talking.
man.
So that's it.
Oh, goodness.